Hey everybody, it's Angie and welcome to Hot and Flashy. In today's video, I wanted to share my top 5 drugstore foundations of all time for mature skin. So before we get into the foundations, I just first wanted to give you a little information about my skin. I'm 62 and I have a ton of sun damage. And so I have a fair amount of discolorations, wrinkles, I have enlarged pores. And so I do like a foundation that evens out my skin tone, covers up my discolorations. I don't like something that looks like, a heavy mask of makeup. I like everything to be lightweight, feel comfortable to wear. And I like a foundation that isn't too super shiny because I do have enlarged pores and a decent amount of texture on my skin. And shiny, super luminous things just really accentuate the texture in my skin. So I like things that are maybe like a soft matte or a satin. I don't really like a flat matte because that makes the rest of my skin look just a little bit older and those can look cakey. So it is a very fine line for me with what I like. And if you've been watching me for any amount of time, you know that I'm like a little picky about things. So the ones that I do like, I have tested. I do all day wear tests. We look at it super up close and personal. So all the foundations that I have to share today have been vetted on my more mature, less than perfect skin. I do have combo skin, so I do have dry areas. I do have slightly oily areas. I do have a lot of normal areas. So I feel like I can speak for most skin types here because, foundations sit differently on my oily bits than they do on my normal bits and my dry bits. And so I feel like that helps me to have a good insight for different skin types. So if you enjoy watching makeup reviews that are done on actual more mature skin, go ahead and give the video a like. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment. Any way that you can engage with the algorithm always helps my channel to keep growing and for my video to get a little bit more traction and a little bit more reach. The first foundation that I want to talk about in today's video is from CoverGirl. This is their Simply Ageless Skin Perfector Essence. This is $15.99 and it comes in 12 shades. It has anti-aging skincare ingredients in it, bakuchiol and tranexamic acid, so it's supposed to improve your skin over time. It's also supposed to be very hydrating. They say it's a 71% water formula. And this is an interesting one because it has these little beads, when you look at it up close, you can see the little beads in there. You can rub the beads in and then they burst, and the beads are what give you the color, the tint on your skin. All right, so I'm gonna go in with the medium shade. I've already tried the light medium shade. It was too light. So I'm gonna go ahead and burst the beads on the back of my hand first. Then I'm gonna use the Nikki LaRose N17 brush. This feels very wet, very watery going on. I feel like it definitely is giving some coverage. Like I can see the difference already between this side and this side. The redness is definitely smoothed and blended in. It is giving more coverage than I thought it would and depositing more color, more pigment than I thought it would. So far so good on that. And it definitely feels very lightweight. It doesn't feel sticky or oily or anything. It does have a nice luminous finish, but it's not enough coverage to totally disguise like the redness on my nose or the little blemish by the side of my nose. So for that, I had to add some concealer in those areas. I did add setting powder, and that seemed to just take down the shine a little bit, help it to not accentuate pores and texture, and it just looked really natural and really pretty on my skin all day. Back when I tried this one, I really wasn't expecting much from it because I thought it really wasn't going to give much coverage, but I was surprised at how well it actually tinted my skin. This is probably the least foundation-y of the foundations that I have to share today. This is so natural looking on the skin and so lightweight. It doesn't look like a mask of makeup. It doesn't look heavy and cakey. It does look and feel very hydrating on the skin, and it looks and feels very lightweight. The staying power of this actually surprised me as well because I wasn't expecting it to really wear so well throughout the day, but it really stayed put all day. The only problem that I had with it was that the shine from this one did start coming through the powder about midway through the day. About 5 hours in, it started looking a little bit shinier than it had previously. But I think for people with dry skin, the dry skin parts of my face really like the more luminous glow. I think it looks fresh. I think it looks youthful. I think it looks really beautiful. And so I didn't really mind that a little bit of the shine was coming through later on in the day. All right, hey you guys, I'm back for the 10-hour check-in. Let's take a look at the makeup and see how it is. So overall, I think, it looks relatively in place, but super shiny, right? It's really beautiful for the first half of the day, or maybe with a little bit of a more matte setting powder for me anyway. If you have super dry skin, you may just love this as it is, but on me, it definitely gets kind of shiny and a little bit, oily looking in the afternoon. So I would definitely wear this again. I like it a lot. I think it looks very natural, very skin-like. It looks like nothing on your skin, but it does give you some coverage and it stays in place really well. So that's a really great one for like the natural look girlies out there who really just don't want to look like they're wearing any makeup, but you have some things on your skin that you want to improve the look of, or you just want a dewier, more glowy look to your skin. This will deliver that with a very sheer wash of pigmentation. All right, the last time I did one of these videos was about 3 years ago, and in that one, 4 out of the 5 foundations were from L'Oreal. And my top foundation in that video was True Match Original Foundation. Well, I guess it's not really original because they did reformulate it a couple years ago. That was when I retested it. The shades were a little bit different. I couldn't get an exact shade match in it like I had before, and it wasn't quite as long wearing as it was with the previous formulation. So this one has dropped down a little bit in my rankings. So this foundation is $13.99. It comes in 47 shades. It is an amazing shade range for a drugstore foundation. In the new formulation, I wear W4. This is a medium coverage foundation that offers a skin-like finish. This foundation is vegan, alcohol-free, fragrance-free, oil-free, and non-comedogenic. This foundation is so beautiful on the skin. This is definitely like a medium buildable foundation. So if you have discolorations on your skin, this will cover them. It doesn't look like a heavy, cakey mask of makeup though. It looks so beautiful. The finish is so nice. It's so smoothing on the skin. It really glides over pores and texture and wrinkles. It stays flexible with your skin, so it doesn't settle in your wrinkles. As far as wear goes, this is also pretty long wearing, but not the longest wearing of the foundations that I have here today. I do get a little bit of wear showing with it at about the 7-hour mark. It was like a little bit worn off on my nose, and it is looking shiny in my T-zone. But I was trying a whole lot of other drugstore makeup that day, and the setting powder I used let all the shine come through. My normal setting powder, this would be still nice and mattified and beautiful looking at this point. And this is 7 hours. Somehow I missed the 4-hour check-in. So this footage is really not doing this foundation any justice. I feel like I should re-record a new day of testing with this foundation just to show how really, really pretty it is on the skin and how it does last all day. And it doesn't settle in wrinkles. I mean, even at the 10-hour check-in, it still looked pretty much just like the 7-hour check-in. It really hadn't worn off anymore. It was the same amount of shininess as before, so it hadn't proceeded to get more shiny. Foundation did not settle in wrinkles at all. Anywhere. Crazy mascara aside. Wow, this foundation. All right, good. Like way better wear than the original. The coverage and the shade stay true all day long so that you don't look dry and cracked and cakey or patchy or funky by the end of the day. It just wears off very naturally, so you still look good. It's been a long time favorite. It's been a long time holy grail. All right, next up, and number 3 is also from L'Oreal. It is also a True Match, but this is True Match Nude. This is $14.99. It comes in 14 shades, so not nearly as inclusive of a shade range as the previous foundation. This is a sheer lightweight coverage foundation for a brightened complexion. This does contain SD alcohol, but it also has hyaluronic acid that could offset any drying effect from the SD alcohol. I'm not sure that it's going to smooth your skin over time because of the hyaluronic acid that's in here. I like, as you know, my skincare to be my skincare and my makeup to be my makeup. The first time I tested this, I was so in love with it. It looked so beautiful all day long on my skin. It just gave this gorgeous, soft, lit from within glow, but it didn't look heavy. It didn't look really like makeup. It wore so well throughout the day. I had such a busy day that day. It's actually funny watching back these reviews because like in that one, I think my daughter was visiting and we were hosting a family party and we had been here, and we had been there, we've been shopping, we've been to the beach and walking the dogs. And It was just a busy day and this held up like nobody's business. All right, hey you guys, I am back for the 4-hour check-in. It is 6 o'clock and makeup's been on for 4 hours. I think overall, like from a distance, it still all looks really good. I'm gonna talk really fast because the family's gonna be here in like 2 minutes for dinner. I don't know where the time went. We don't have everything done, but it's gonna be fun anyway. So what has happened on my face? I think the foundation still looks really nice. This just has the tiniest bit of settling right in here, but it's really like nothing that anyone else could see. I think overall, like this makeup is really pretty, really wearing well. Oh, they're here, okay. All right, guys, it is 11:20, so instead of an 8-hour check-in, it's a 9-hour and 20-minute check-in on the makeup from this morning. The L'Oreal True Match Nude. Oh my gosh, so good, you guys. This is fantastic. If you loved L'Oreal True Match, but it was just a little bit too makeup-y for you, definitely give this a try. Love it. I think it held up really well all day, considering that I like had a mask on for like an hour. It didn't really rub off that badly, and how long a day it's been and everything. I think this looks really good. I thought this one really looked great on my pores. I thought it really smoothed out my texture. This is shade 2 to 3 light and it's a perfect shade match for me. I loved it then and I wear it a lot, as you can tell by how much I have used of this foundation. All right, next up is one that I discovered, I want to say about 6 months ago, and I loved it from the first time I tried it. I actually put it head to head against a viral foundation, the Tear, and it won hands down. This is the E.L.F. Soft Glam Foundation. It retails for $8 and it comes in 36 shades, so very inclusive shade range. I wear it in shade 25 Light Neutral. Now this is a long-lasting, hydrating, medium coverage foundation with a satin finish. So since this is the Soft Glam, this one isn't trying to be super luminous. This side of my face is set with setting powder. This side, I'm just gonna let it be its natural finish. This looks so pretty on the setting powder side. You know, for me, this does look nice. I think if you have dry skin, you would like this side, because what I find is that on dry skin people, things that are super luminous on me are less luminous on them. They tend to soak in a little bit more and not look quite so shiny. Of course, they usually don't have enlarged pores that are then enhanced, which I do. It did get a little bit shinier throughout the day, and this wore really well throughout the entire day. It looked almost just applied when I came back for the 5-hour check-in, and I was really happy with it. There was no wearing off anywhere, and there was very minimal settling into the wrinkles. By the end of the day, I was still really happy with this one, really high on it, and it was just became an instant favorite of mine. I just felt like my skin looked better than it really is. I felt like it looked younger than it really was, and I just was really falling for this hard. And this is probably my most worn drugstore foundation so far this year. All right, so my #1 drugstore foundation right now is one that I just tested last week, and I love this one so much. It is the Maybelline Superstay Lumi Matte Foundation. This is $14.99 and it comes in 24 shades. This foundation delivers buildable coverage and up to 30 hours of wear. It has a light as air formula that's infused with amino acids, and it gives a luminous matte finish. This one does contain SD alcohol. It's about 4th on the ingredient list. So I just discovered this one last week. I gave it a try in a video and I was so blown away by the wear of this foundation. I felt like it could have looked better in that video if I used my regular setting powders, because it was a full face of drugstore makeup video, and I did use a different setting powder with it. I was happy with how it looked all day with that setting powder, but when I looked back at the footage, I was like, ooh, my skin looked more textured than I thought it did when I was looking at the video just in the little monitor of my camera, you know, tiny monitor, 62-year-old eyes. And so I've since tried it with my Holy Grail setting powders, and oh my gosh, this just sent me into outer space with how much I love this one. It's the one I'm wearing today with the Holy Grail powders. So rather than bringing in last week's footage where I had the not great setting powder with it, I want to redo the up close footage. All right, so let me show you this one up close here. Look how pretty it is. And I think it looks much less textured on my skin than when I tried it with the other setting powder. Hey, just wanted to do a late in the day check-in on the Maybelline foundation with this powder to show you how beautiful this looks. I think I've been in it for about 6 hours now. I mean, the wear on this foundation is just so amazing. It looks, I think, almost just just applied. Hardly any settling in wrinkles. My skin looks so smooth. The other setting powder that I used last week, my skin didn't look this smooth. It definitely accentuated pores and texture, made it look shinier later in the day. This one isn't making it look shiny. All right, it's 10:30, so time for a 10-hour check-in on the Superstay makeup with the different setting powder. And I think that the setting powder really didn't make a difference in how long this makeup wears. I think it's really long wearing. This one does settle into wrinkles a little bit, but again, it doesn't make my wrinkles look bigger. It doesn't make them look cracked. It doesn't look cakey. It's just beautiful, beautiful foundation. I love the finish on it. It's got a very soft luminosity. It's not like a hard shine. I do need to set it because it is a little bit luminous, but if you prefer luminosity and you never set things, then you could also really like this. And oh my gosh, the staying power on this wore all day and it looked just applied late in the day. So I think this is my favorite drugstore foundation right now. But for dry skin people, I probably would be less likely to recommend the Maybelline or the L'Oreal True Match Lumi, just because they do have SD alcohol high up on the ingredients list. But if that doesn't bother you, you could go ahead and give them a try. I don't think they're gonna like dry out your skin. I didn't feel like they made my skin feel drier, made my skin look drier. I didn't feel like I had, skin flakes popping up by the end of the day, which some drying foundations will do that. These just look beautiful all day long, and I don't really feel like they were drying. But if you don't like SD alcohol, then these are not going to be for you. And then if you do have super dry skin, I would definitely recommend one of these three, especially this one is very, very hydrating. So if you have dry skin and you like a natural look, I would go with this one. If you have normal skin or oily skin and you prefer a more satin matte finish, less luminosity, then I would go with the E.L.F. Soft Glam. And then of course the original True Match is great if you like a little bit more of a full coverage makeup look. And I'd say that this one is good for all skin types. And if you're looking for a really great drugstore foundation, you could give any of these 5 a try, and I think you'd be really happy with them on your more mature skin. So if you enjoy watching makeup reviews that are done on actual more mature skin, go ahead and give the video a like. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel.